Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today it's all about the U, baby. Behind Texas is back. I would say Miami is back, or going to do a lot this year. I have faith in Miami. I believe is probably the second most uttered phrase in terms of national media. So maybe they'll be back this year. Their odds, just we'll start off with that. They are 23-1 to win the ACC. So one would argue they're probably not going to be back this year, but maybe next year. I think Cristobal does have the right thing going. I'll be honest. As for their recruiting, because that's Miami's biggest thing right now is recruiting. 7th in the country, obviously first in the ACC. They had 2 5-stars, 14 4-stars, and 8 3-stars. They had 20, I think they had 12 guys leave and 13 come into the portal. As for their 5-stars, offensive tackle Francis Maguia. He's a big Polynesian guy. He looks like he's got the big lei in his photo here. IMG Academy, obviously, so big man coming out of there. He's 6'6", 330, which is crazy. Second best athlete in Florida. Their other 5-stars, another offensive tackle, Samson Unkula, out of Thayer Academy in Mass. Number 1 guy from there. And then they got some edges, tight ends, receivers, running backs, corners, D-line. Typical recruiting, but their 2 biggest guys are offensive tackles, which obviously Cristobal being an ex-guy himself, that makes a lot of sense. They also brought in Javon Cohen from Alabama on the transfer portal and Matt Lee, 2 inside offensive linemen, both instantly transferring in, 2 4-stars, 94 and 93 rating themselves. They bring in Francisco Magua, which looks like the brother of Francis is Francisco. Interesting. He comes in as a linebacker transfer from Wazoo. And then the next guy coming in is Branson Dean from Purdue, D lineman, Devontae Brown from UCF, a corner, helping replace Tyreek Stevenson. Another corner, Jaden Davis from OU. So a lot there. I'm trying to see if there's any guys. I'm quickly looking at their big board. Any other transfers coming in? No, they have the 3 starters on the offensive line are going to be new this year. They brought in Cam McCormick. Where is he from? He's a transfer tight end. He is from Oregon. Okay, so he will be another guy coming in. So a lot going on for Miami. Leonard Taylor III, one of their best defensive players, is their highest ranked prospect according to here. And then they've got 2 really good safeties, Carmen Kitchens, James Williams, and then another offensive lineman, Zion Nelson and Javon Cohen, obviously, are going to be big guys that we're talking about here. Obviously, Cohen transferring in, and Mr. Zion Nelson is the other left tackle. They have Francis as the right tackle as of now. Samson is going to be the left tackle next year, it looks like, based on their depth chart. So their defense is pretty good, but obviously the big issue is Tyler Van Dyke and Josh Gattis. I remember a lot of people are making fun of Michigan when we lost Josh Gattis, the coordinator of the year, somehow. And we saw that was not really the case. Maybe a fraudulent award winner there. So Gattis obviously out now. I believe he's up in Maryland. Not entirely sure on that. But he's not in Miami. That's all they care about. So, yeah, Josh Gattis is the offensive coordinator up in Maryland now, up in the DMV. So very far away from South Beach, which is all you really need. But yeah, I think, Miami, their whole offensive scheme is going to change now. A bit more of a run the ball, pound the rock sort of thing, I would imagine. It would change if they get some really good receivers in. Obviously, they're looking to flip some guys I won't specifically name because, you hate to say that with recruits. But obviously, they're trying to be more of a pound the rock offense, I would imagine, relying on this offensive line. It's a great way to build teams. I mean, as a Michigan fan, and even as Georgia running college football too, great offensive lines always help everything out. It's all in the trenches, and it's really important, especially if they're trying to move out of the conference. I know they're probably going to stay in the ACC, but if they were to move the SEC or the Big Ten, you're going to need some trenches to play. Dealing with everything else other than that, their schedule, they start against the other Miami. This one's in Ohio on a Friday night. They'll win that one. They play Texas A&M at home. This is, again, while I've been saying week 2, man, you got Alabama versus Texas, and you've got Miami, Texas A&M. Really, really important games for these teams. It's currently a 6.5-point favorite for Texas A&M, so Miami is a 6.5-point underdog at home. If they're able to pull that one out, watch out. Twitter's going to go mental because they play Bethune-Cookman next. That's a win. They play at Temple. That's a win. They play Georgia Tech at home. That's a win. So if Miami is 5-0, right, going into at North Carolina, Twitter might break. Obviously, they have probably the best fan base on Twitter, I would say. They are always out there. They're super passionate. Bunch of great guys. I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of these guys through the spaces and everything, and they're great people. And I think that they, deserve a really good team. They're one of the most passionate fan bases. Obviously, they got a little bit of Cowboys in them, where most of them are around the country, but it's good for football when they're good. They're one of those select few teams. I know people hate that argument, but I totally disagree. I think imagine how fun it would be if Miami was in playoff talks. How cool would that be, right? The U being back would be awesome. Sebastian Ibis going crazy, right? Everything going nuts. All the guys down there going crazy. All the pros, ex-pros, super guys that are really good. Everyone would get involved. And again, it would help bring up the college football, and Miami being back would awaken a sleeping giant down there, because we know how their fan base was with basketball, which I'm sure most of them don't even give a crap about. But the fact that they made they think they were in the Final Four. Yeah, they were in the Final Four. That's crazy. So, yeah, but, they're deep run in basketball. They're really now like football. We need to wake up here. And I think Cristobal's doing that. So the at North Carolina game, this is obviously going to be your biggest conference game at the time. I'm imagining you're going to be a big underdog, but that's assuming what we're looking at now. If you're able to beat Texas A&M, which I think you could, I don't think you will, but I definitely could see it, right? Then you could definitely take care of North Carolina, because they're kind of like a 1 or 2 guy team, right? If you limit Drake May, that team's in trouble. That defense sucks. And with a running clock, with the running clock rules, if you're able to run the ball a bit more, you can probably end that game quickly. Then you play Clemson at home. And if by some miracle of God, you've got, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're 6-0, already bowl eligible with Clemson at home. Again, this apple break. At this point, I'm going to say you're 5-1. I think you can beat Carolina on the road. I don't see it, but I could definitely think it's more likely than A&M, as crazy as it is. So you're going to lose at Clemson, unfortunately. It's just how it is. Then you play Virginia at home, easy win. At NC State, it's another toss-up game. And there's a lot of these toss-up games that Miami's got to get hot and get in. I think that they could do that as well. I don't see it. I'm not going to predict it, but I could definitely see it. So as of now, I got you at 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 losses, right? But that's how many wins. I got you at 5-4 heading into the end of the season here. You're going to play Florida State on the road. This one's going to be really tough. They're a really good team, obviously. With that home field advantage, I just don't see it happening. I think it's going to be one of those games that's going to be obviously a rivalry game, so you're going to want to take the points in the rivalry games. That usually is how that works. So right now I have you at 5-5. Louisville at home. I almost want to do a video on Louisville. I just know that no one would care, but Louisville's really good. But Miami at home, they're going to need it. They win this one. And then they beat Boston College at Boston College. Should be no problem. Boston College, maybe one of the worst teams in the Power 5. So 7-5 for Miami. That's based on just, flat out what I think the point spreads are going to be, right? Can you flip any of these games? Absolutely. You flip A&M and you're 8-4 in theory, but I think that means you can win North Carolina. I think that means you could beat NC State, right? These games where if you flip 1 or 2 games early, right, or if you beat a North Carolina, who cares about Texas A&M? You're going forward and winning the conference, right? That's your idea, right? Their schedule does them no favors, playing at Florida State and having to deal with Clemson and North Carolina as well. But, it is what it is. You have 2 of those big 3 games are on the road, including NC State on the road. So I don't know if 2024 is the year they're looking for, maybe a senior Van Dyke, but they're trending in the right direction. And that's the most you can ask for from any team, right, is just trending in the right direction and build on what you're doing. I think Cristobal's got the leash. He's going to be able to do what he can going forward. And I really could see Miami, surprising some people this year. Definitely. They're going to lose a lot in terms of defense, but they're bringing in some great offensive linemen, obviously. Good running backs, freshmen, and some good corners that are freshmen. Damari Brown, too, right? So you got a lot of these guys that I think are going to be making an impact years going down. So your recruiting is obviously very important. With NIL, even better. And they're able to build off of that, get some good classes in the building, wins will follow. And, Florida State, who could see what's going on with them. North Carolina is probably just a team because of Drake May. NC State, transfer quarterback as well. Florida State, they're going to lose their quarterback. And Clemson, we're going to see how it works with Clemson. Is Garrett Riley going to fit in like a glove? I believe so. But if not, it could be Miami's conference to take. And, I don't really see it this year. I'm seeing 7-8 wins, is kind of what I'm looking at right now. But Let me know down below what you think. And we'll see you guys all next time. Please like and subscribe. And remember, it's all about the U.